What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a semi-new interview for Hogwarts Legacy. So this was around 5 days ago. I'm sorry it took me so long to make the video, but enough people had asked me. I did see the Reddit kind of breakdown of it, and that's what I'm going to read. So this interview in all was around 35 minutes. It was on My Tech High. It was basically, let's say this. Dorian Rosen, hopefully that's how you say his name right. He's a game designer for Avalanche Software. He told his story to My Tech High students, okay? So you can watch the entire video, or like I did, on Reddit, they kind of, a user broke it down into kind of bullet points of what's most important. So I'm going to read over what is most important, or these bullet points, and then we'll go over our reaction to it. A couple things, and some of the stuff is new and different before we get in. Make sure, obviously, if you guys do like this stuff, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon, all that stuff. We also launched a Patreon/YouTube membership. So if you're looking for additional ways to help the channel out, obviously, I'm not begging, I'm not demanding, none of that stuff. It's if you guys feel comfortable. We do have 2 different tiers, and you do get exclusive stuff when you sign up. So it's not just support for support, you also get stuff. And finally, I'll do a small little tease of my own. I've been thinking about how to tease this before, but speaking of interviews and speaking of Hogwarts Legacy, I may or may not have been in communication over the past several months with Troy Leavitt, and that's where I'll leave it for now. We probably will, there will be an interview, I just don't know exactly when, okay? So we'll leave you on that cliffhanger, and I hope and I think it's going to be an insane interview that's going to be pretty exclusive and that people are going to want to tune into. Okay, let's go into it. So he's been working on Hogwarts Legacy for a little over 3 years and 2 months since the video was first uploaded. So him specifically or the company, we don't know, but I'll read through and I'll give my impressions after. The amount of effort to make the game is hard to overstate. Avalanche has a little over 150 employees that's working on this game. There's also other studios from all over the world, from different time zones that are working on the game, so that work is continuously being done. There's a studio in London that are also currently working on the game, and he works closely with them. He doesn't really know how many people have worked on the game all around the world, but he wouldn't be surprised if it's less. He would be surprised if it's less than 1,000 people by the time the game comes out. It's a huge effort. He feels very lucky to be working with extremely talented programmers and developers for this game. He can't say very much, but it's an open world RPG, but there's a lot of time where video game trailers are CGI and fake, but he reassures the entire official reveal trailer for Hogwarts Legacy was pretty much all gameplay. Avalanche Software has been working closely with Epic game developers on how to maximize the potential of the use of the Unreal Engine. He doesn't specify whether it's version 4 or 5. It's going to be, I assume, 4. He can't wait for people to play it, implying that the game caters to both non-casual and casual gamers alike. This game is not just about combat and casting spells, like aka Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. He's a big Harry Potter fan. During his interview before getting hired for this game, he had no idea what he was up to, what the game would be. And being able to write and produce more Wizarding World content, he makes sure that all the stuff he writes for the game is accurate to the source, implying that it's canon. Avalanche Software's priority right now is giving us a quality Hogwarts Legacy game and reassures that the developers of this game are nailing in that aspect. So, again, one of the reasons why I didn't feel inclined immediately to make this video is, if you notice, we pretty much still get nothing. It's now I'm going to try to ask more, and I'll make videos kind of updating. Maybe I'll ask you guys if you want to ask Troy any questions, but I want to ask very specific questions, and I know that he's not going to be able to answer like 99% of the questions I could throw at him, but just kind of for fun, just to see what they are able to say. It doesn't say all that much. Really, in my opinion, you could summarize, especially when he talks about how many people are working on this game, you could summarize that all into one, but you don't need like 3 bullet points like this guy did. I mean, look, well, and I'm, by the way, I know I'm kind of being a little critical on it. It's just because some of the stuff is very obvious almost in a way, and I'll tell you which stuff is the amount of people. So like 150 people working on at Avalanche, that's cool. Like I guess you could have known that if you looked it up, I guess. And the idea of like, lots of people, hundreds and hundreds of people working on this game. Well, there's a lot of outsourcing that goes on. So I don't, like I said, I didn't watch the video itself. I don't know if he mentioned that specific word of outsourcing, but that's what pretty much every big game on planet Earth does, is they outsource certain parts of it to other companies. Very often, sometimes it's foreign, okay? So like foreign companies. So that seems to be what's happened here. Again, you just kind of get the scope that this is. I guess what that proves is that this is a big game. Because if it was a really, really small game, there wouldn't be as many people working on it. Whereas if it's bigger, it's pretty much not just Avalanche. It's Avalanche, and then it's really like 5 to 6 times Avalanche's size in all working on the game. Obviously, Avalanche is, the head of it. So that's cool. Again, the Unreal Engine thing, doesn't it not even become available until this year? So I doubt they're working on it with Unreal Engine 5, so I feel like it has to kind of be 4. The whole, like, it's for casual people and non-casual people. I've been saying that. Not even, I was about to say since day one, since like they showed the game. I would like to claim credit of that for like a year before then, because one of the things I would consistently say is that this is going to be a game that gets people that are Harry Potter fans to play it, right? It's very honestly, it's one of the most unique games out there in that regard, because a lot of games are for gamers, right? You expect people that have just been playing video games to get a game, but when you bring it's not like it's never been done before, but when you bring a franchise like Harry Potter, I know this is like the Wizarding World, but Harry Potter is the brand, okay? Everybody knows that. So like when you have people that are into that don't play games whatsoever, and they jump in specifically for that game, you don't really have that with almost any other game. And that to the sales potential, it's enormous. And I've been saying that for a very, very long time. And honestly, I feel like they all know that very well in it. I guess the most interesting thing, at least to me, is that he's a big Harry Potter fan, but during his interview, it didn't even, I would say, like, it didn't even matter. He didn't even know what he was up to at first. And being able to write and produce more Wizarding World content, he makes sure that all the stuff he writes for the game is accurate to the source, implying that it's canon. So that, I do think that's the most important. Again, that's, I'd argue it's obvious, and it better be obvious, right? Because if they're not going based off canon, we have an issue, okay? Not that I guess it's not okay, but they need to, like, state that and make it very, very clear they're not doing that. But no, they're going to follow the rules. We've been saying that for like a year now, right? That we fully expect that. All the stuff we bring up as to, well, could they do this? Could they do that? Well, does it follow the law? Does it follow the rules? Does it follow the time, like the time setting, right? All that kind of stuff. And so the fact that they are very aware of that is good, is very good. So, it's definitely a positive interview, which is great, okay? We need more of those, I think, in general. It doesn't tell us I would say, literally doesn't tell us anything about the game itself other than it's in good working condition. Oh, I guess because I saw people, the first time somebody told me that this interview had happened, the first thing that people were talking about was the length of development and, like, is that good or bad? It's fine. So he's been working on it for just a little over 3 years. I would assume he worked on it the entire time, because 3 years seems like it was probably the entire... Because remember, the game was supposed to come out this fall. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that. I would assume since when we get to this fall, I assume that would have been 4 years. So right now we're somewhere around like 3.5 years. If he's worked on it for like 3 years, 2 months, so maybe he wasn't there like during and this is just my speculation. I have no idea. I would imagine there was a little bit of time before him, and there's also a pre-production phase that you bring in a lot of people directly after or during that pre-production phase, so that's something to keep in mind as well. I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever. Game seems fine. By the time we end up getting it, it'll probably have been worked on for around 5+ years, which is a lot of time. It's absolutely a lot of time. For an open world game, it's definitely around the norm. You know what I mean? So very good. Very, very, very good. So hopefully I can get more out of my interview than they got out of there. Not to pick on them, not because, I love it. And if they're, and I'd like to talk to other people that work. Obviously Troy is not even there anymore. I'd love to talk to people that actually work there. And as the channel gets bigger, as more people start to recognize me or know who I am, maybe I'll be able to talk to more of these people. I definitely want to. So let me know, guys. But I don't BS. I don't beat around the bush. I'm not really politically correct, so that kind of stuff maybe deters people, just to throw that in there. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think about the entire interview? Like I said, make sure, obviously in the beginning of the video, like I said, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon, all that stuff. We did the Patreon, we did the YouTube memberships. Obviously, they're just there if people want to do it. All my other social media stuff, all the free stuff, right? Joining us on Twitter, Discord, second channel, subscribing here, all that stuff, completely free, and I hope you guys do that stuff as well, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.